way to sell that AM Ags is up, right? Throw the Reaper Scythe on him, bounces back on me, kills me. 160-second death timer. 160. I was just like, okay,
You're gonna get an
I'm done with the Dota game.
Yeah, almost out of the game. Abandoned.
I've never seen anything like that.
Crazy stuff. Right, we're going to get into Game 3 draft very shortly. What are we expecting this time round, Cap? We've already seen Wings pull out a few extras.
Well, Jack, did you say maybe Necrophos gets banned this time around? Maybe in the 3-4? I think
maybe.
I think Ben mentioned it.
I think that hero is so special. Yeah, I think it's like it was very specific the fact that Newbee had like so much physical damage that they couldn't abuse the Necrophos.
I wouldn't go that far. That seems unlikely, but I think. Oh well, never mind.
Well, there you go.
Wow, first phase.
Yeah, we didn't like that. We didn't like playing against that at all. Couldn't kill it at all. Let's get rid of it.
Very well. All right, well that leaves I think
Arc Warden's the only one that's left that's new to CM that maybe Newbee haven't played against.
Yeah.
You talked about it being a support.
True.
So it's possible, but I think Wings have to stick to the same general plan of they need something to throw Newbee off the rhythm and throw them off their comfort zone a little bit. And through the draft, that's the best way for them to accomplish that. And again, that superior teamfight execution. It feels like if they get to that point in the game where that starts to matter, and they have an advantage in that department, they can win.
Let's do the same thing, but no Necrophos. Probably would have won.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't have died much.
What was the laning situation like last game?
So was the Weaver and Clockwork going in the offlane too?
Yeah.
It seems like they're always caught off guard by that when there's like, the first game there were 2 supports in the bottom lane, the last game there was 1 support, and they just feed death unnecessarily down there.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
SF is back, and it's paired with the Venge, which we've spoken about a number of times over the last 3 days.
And we said the Vengeful Spirit is it's a good fighting core versus Drill Ranger. It has a lot of value here, and obviously there's a ton of synergy with the Shadow Fiend as well.
Yeah, the minus armor is something we saw Wings use actually on the first day of the group stage, and then also the flexibility because we have seen them pick this Venge early on and then transition it to a support, and that certainly adds a bit more wrinkles for them as well.
I've seen a swap Requiem before. That was one of the coolest things I've seen. Have you guys seen that before?
I haven't, no.
It's a cool combo. Very satisfying too.
Well, Requiem is also pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
You're standing right on top of someone.
Especially with the new Ags. Especially when it's first revealed, you know, they're like, oh, I survived through that bit of damage, then it comes back in, and you're just like, oh god.
His talent is so good with the Ags. He has plus like 92 damage, I think.
Yeah.
His level 20 talent, which is absurd on a hero that already does a ton of physical damage.
Yeah, I think like the Ags is very legit on SF. It makes the hero such a strong team fighter. Like it comes back, you get like this extra bit of nuke damage, you get this heal.
So why Venge Core? They're the only team that's really doing it, and why versus the Drow?
I mean, I feel like it's a pretty good brawling hero. It's able to close distance very well, and I think it's just like anytime that you have the Draw Ranger, it's this push strategy, right? As long as you have a core that is able to do better team fight than the Draw Ranger is able to provide, then you're good. Vengeful Spirit provides almost an equal amount of physical damage thanks to the minus armor that he has, and then he also provides this magic missile. Yeah. And even if it's not there, right, then the swap is still really good from a support position because the Draw Ranger is single target focus.
Right, you're more self-sufficient as well. We talked about if they have trouble securing their safe lane, if they're worried about tri-lanes, that certainly helps them too. And then the Ogre, so, I mean, they're pretty much expecting the Shadow Fiend to go mid no matter what, and they want to give them a hard time. If they don't go with... We saw a team earlier in the tournament go with the Viper up against the Shadow Fiend. Maybe not something like that, but again, the Ogre bodyguard sitting across.
Yeah, think of the same thing, right? The Ogre just abusing that poor SF. How do you think Wings is supposed to deal with that? Do you pick up like a 4 position that also sits in the mid lane?
They like Wisp is pretty common as a mid babysitter for the Shadow Fiend amongst the Chinese teams.
The Wisp would fill that role very well.
Saw it banned in the last. Was it second phase?
It was very last ban.
Oh, okay.
Taking the Queen of Pain out.
Oh no, it was second
10
phase.
seconds remaining.
Do you against these lineups?
5 seconds remaining.
I guess you already have Vengeful Spirit, so maybe you don't worry about the Faceless Void. Again, I think it's the only time that Faceless Void is a possible pick.
I like it versus a Lifestealer a lot.
Yeah, maybe that. But I think for the most part, he's mostly going to be viable when you run Draw Ranger strategy.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get rid of the OD now as well.
Is he that? I think Shadow Fiend's like okay in lane versus OD.
Yeah, he just double nukes the wave, so he doesn't have to worry about the imprisonment harassment.
Yeah, wouldn't you be more worried about Storm? They can't ban both.
But then it's still is Storm even viable in this patch question? So
Newbee's turn to
yeah,
ban.
there it is.
You go, Ben.
OD's more manageable. If I were Shadow Fiend, I'd prefer facing OD, I think, with the Drow lineup.
I like that they're concealing KP's
10
pick a bit
seconds
more
remaining.
in these drafts. I mean, they had a tendency to go with that very early on, but it seems like they
5 seconds
want to find him more
remaining.
of a counter or a comfortable matchup for them. And
Yeah,
the tournament is
it's
kind of
it's been an issue for him, isn't it? Because he
Reserve
does seem to have
time.
had some inconsistent games. And do you think it's because they've had to pick it early and then he's been countered hard?
well, I think in terms of the draft, if you reveal his hero early on, then Wings knows exactly how to deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
what are they giving up in the safe lane? What's a good matchup for them? If you hide it a little bit later as a counter pick and to protect him, I
Wings
think it's
Gaming's
useful, especially if
turn
they're
to
counting
pick.
on him to make plays that much.
So Jug removed at the end of the second phase. Let's see what the second phase picks are.
Man, neither one of these teams put they just put no value into
Shaker.
Omni Knight.
Newbee's turn
Wow.
to pick.
Then remember they said, is that an NA thing?
Yeah,
So what they told Jack.
yeah.
It is, as well as
Nice size
DC
Surf
thing.
Shaker.
So plenty
10
of games in the middle of the year from him on that.
But it does
5
mean they're
seconds
lacking,
remaining.
unless they're going to play like a pretty
Reserve
aggressive
time.
gank heavy support duo into that mid lane, they don't have a current solution with the Ogre versus SF problem.
That's true. The bench could always babysit too if they want to run that. I think it's okay to get the Shaker that's not like a huge playmaking for, at least not in the early game, because they have the Vengeful Spirit who can kind of make up for that in her one position.
I've seen them pair Drow with Weaver a lot.
Clockwork,
Wings
this time,
Gaming's turn to pick.
last time they picked it up, it was really effective. This time around, it's just kind of okay.
Hmm.
It's not the greatest versus Vengeful Spirit for both Swap as well as the core Vengeful Spirit. It's obviously really good versus Shadow Fiend and Earthshaker, though.
10 seconds
Yeah, it's incredibly
remaining.
good versus the Shaker. They don't really have a good counter for it.
5
Rubik Lift.
seconds remaining.
Pretty common. Disruptor is also pretty common, but I don't really like
Reserve
either of
time.
those versus Newbee's lineup. Are Newbee just gonna pick the exact same thing?
Would be funny. Maybe they didn't think they did that badly at all and got caught out.
Yeah, I mean, I think they gotta be pretty happy, fairly happy about their performance. Like just later on, things started to turn around in terms of how they're outlaning Wings for the most part, how they're able to control the game early on. They've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, if they think it was just like a draft issue in the sense that they gave the opponent Necrophos and they didn't really know how to deal with it, then it would make sense for them. However, at the same time, they're going to have less surprises up their sleeves. Like they're going to expect Clockwork +1 probably in the off lane, so on and so forth. If they want to play it similarly.
I wouldn't mind them swapping back to like a gyrocopter for Wings instead of having that bench
Newbee's
support,
turn
but
to
that goes
pick.
right out the window. Thank you, Wings.
So some more armor synergy going on that we've seen, and then also like Newbee seems to have kind of consistently had this issue where they go very heavily towards single
10
target damage.
seconds remaining.
And again, like if you have a defensive support like a Dazzle or Oracle can help deal with that and
5
synergizes with their
seconds
armor. I think it's a
remaining.
nice pick for them here.
Yeah, or Force Staffs like we saw last game. I think that
Reserve time.
really helped them out a lot, their Force Staff usage.
I think we're still looking at the possibility, though, that Newbee could overwhelm Wings with these just
10 seconds
like
remaining.
I think that they go the
Wings
Draw Ranger
Gaming's
Dusa
turn
strategy.
to ban.
I mean, now that they've committed to the Vengeful Spirits, safe lane core, right? The
That's not-
Dusa becomes a lot stronger.
That's not necessarily true. I think they can use Earthshaker in the off lane. One of the
Oh,
most
yeah,
common
right.
pickups that is versus
10
the Dusa is
seconds
the
remaining.
Anti-Mage, which
Mhm.
I think is actually not that bad here versus the Medusa. I think they have a pretty
5
strong
seconds
forward that can fight while the
remaining.
Anti-Mage is farming
Yeah, you're
versus
right.
the Dusa. They still have one band though if they're scared of
Reserve
it.
time.
And I think Anti-Mage is by far one of the best ones. Versus
Yeah, and most of the other Diffusal Blade carriers are kind of either not viable or already banned out, like the Jug.
Yeah. And Diffusal got nerfed a little bit too.
Newbees turn to ban.
They could also decide that this is a bit greedier on the side of Newbee. Actually, we've seen this Medusa Drow combo since in like the Manila Major back then, used against them especially. So they could decide to go with an Ursa, something that's even more aggressive early on.
That's true. Ursa, I think,
10
is one of the
seconds
better ones to deal with it too. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Wings to do something strange like the PL.
5 seconds
I would say
remaining.
too. It's like not bad. Rushing the Drow Ranger, Clockwork and Ogre also struggle to deal with it, but late game I don't particularly
Newbees
favor that
turn to
matchup
pick.
a lot.
With the Ogre, it could be that Newbee planned this out for a while too, right? Because you always need some sort of damage upgrade for Medusa.
Yeah, now
Throw
they
Ranger
do.
is a big one, but you always want a little bit more, and that Bloodlust is super value for Medusa.
10
You don't want to
seconds
have this
remaining.
hero at 30 minutes still feel like the physical damage isn't enough. So you need upgrades from these allies.
Wings
Rubik versus
Gaming's
Earthshaker.
Turn to
Yep.
pick.
Cool down there.
I like this Deuce for Newbee just because I think they're going to play it a lot faster than the way Fnatic did.
Yeah.
And especially with the Drow
seconds
Ranger, it just
remaining.
becomes so much more powerful. They've built, as you mentioned, 2 heroes that synergize well with the
5
Deuce. They have the
seconds
Clockwork to protect them. It's also very good versus the Shadow Fiend and Earthshaker to just create this huge buffer in between them.
Of course it is.
Of course.
Of course it is.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
If there was one hero we weren't expecting,
Yeah.
it was the Broodmother.
You're going to see a Dazzle Brood offlane?
Yeah, I think
Dazzle
so.
Brood.
Dazzle Brood that offlane
So
is
scary.
ridiculously strong.
Absolutely crazy. What a crazy draft to end then. We're going to go into game 3. It's all or nothing for both teams as we head back to our commentary team. Purge and Gods, it's all yours.
Welcome back for game number 3. Wings versus Newbee, winner through to the grand finals to face Digital Chaos. And Wings, once again, Purge, have done something a little bit different with their draft.
I was really liking what Newbee did with the Medusa pick, but now with the Broodmother, it's kind of
10
scary here,
seconds
especially for
remaining.
Drow Ranger. Brood is one of the best heroes against her because she has no AoE.
5
So
seconds remaining.
if you accumulate enough spiders, that's a dead Drow Ranger. So I really love the pick. With Dazzle, it can definitely be very effective. And even if it doesn't go super well, you've got a regular
Prepare
Dazzle.
for
So
battle.
first Broodmother of the new patch. We'll see how it does.
This was the old school counter, yeah, like you say, to the Drow Ranger. It used to be picked up, I mean, it used to be a top tier pick that was getting first 2 picked even back in the old ESL One New York days when
That's
saw it
right,
rise to
Vega?
prominence. Yeah, Vega with Mag.
Yeah.
Then DK Phobos was playing it a lot. But Faith Beyond, this is a little spiffy looking brood set. But yeah, great synergy with the Dazzle as mentioned. And Dazzle doesn't even have to necessarily start up there. You may want to look to prioritize brood getting some levels before you make that rotation up there. Get the like a good Spiderling army before you get the Shadow Wave Field Bomb going.
And that's kind of what it seems like he's going to do with Quelling Blade Stout Shield. More likely he'll jungle. Quelling's not that weird, but with the Stout, I assume that he's ready to retreat if needed. And it's so important that Newbee does try to shut him down, keep him one as long as possible, because
30
they don't have good
seconds to
AoE.
battle.
Their AoE is Fade Bolt in the safe lane, like until Ogre hits 6, that is. So
Are they sending Clock to safe lane? They may just be sacking that lane in the sense that they're not going to try and fight the brood with the Drow lane.
But again, as we've seen from the first couple games, aggro tri-laning a Drow Ranger is the solution. Now they're the ones aggroing
With a Drow Ranger.
with the Drow.
Not by choice, I imagine, as Newbee is smoked up, looking to capitalize around this bounty rune. They've got a high ground ward here. They will see the Earthshaker, but Earthshaker also sees them and gets out of there before trouble arrives. Does get them an extra bounty rune, but they were perhaps thinking they could get themselves a kill as well.
Yeah, would have been nice to have the great positioning there. It's so important how some teams do stand like that. They had protection from the trees, and with the Vengeful Spirit spotting the smoke break, just easy save there. One lets bounty rune, and they'll do their best to win this lane. They put a sentry down as well to spot for any camp blocks, but there's nothing of that sort. It's been a little bit of a late lane rotation.
Mid lane though, this is not a great lane for a Shadow Fiend. The creep block is on the dire hill. It will push out perhaps with the range creeps and their status, but bottom lane is where we'll draw our attention. They're going to be getting a nice fissure onto Kaka. He's been blocked off. He's going to look to run himself away here. Why? Has another poison touch only in 5 seconds time. The right click damage may be enough on its own. The Tango, he barely survives.
He can chase, maybe get a poison touch, but obviously he'll use Shrine if needed.
Yep, he pops it just to be on the safe side.
Very worth it for Innocence to follow like that, because they guarantee that Kaka had to waste it on himself and not actually do an AoE.
Okay. Perhaps a slightly advantageous start for Wings, and this trialing is actually, don't be fooled by the fact that Newbee are the ones quote-unquote aggroing here. It's a tri lane in Wings'
Again?
favor, and they.
Oh,
Oh.
the close one. It is a bench carry, by the way.
Yep. So Shadow picking up the farm in this lane. It will be pushing out here, making sure that Drow can get some farm, but we'll draw our attention back towards this mid lane where SF is being dual laned. The Ogre's presence giving him a very rough time. Medusa even coming in. This may be an early first blood. There's one Fairy Fire available, but the Medusa picks it up, gets tower aggro
Just
off
salvin.
herself, and
Nothing weird here, just tanking tower, healing.
welcome to a new age of Dota 2.
It's a really nice dive there. That's the kind of pressure they need to do, because that's the one lane that's actually vulnerable. They should be expecting Drow to get less farm in this lane. And as of yet, the Fissures have been really scary, so they've got to at least leave Blink in a worse place than normal.
And taking a look at the one other lane we haven't seen, the top lane is gone just fine for Clockwork. He's CSing and doing not too bad here, at least for now, while Brood doesn't have too many levels or too many spider links. That may change soon, but it's not a lane they're necessarily expecting to win. KP's just up here with the order, probably get some farm and XP, just keep the Brood busy. He's leveling up Rocket Flare for some extra AoE.
It's the important thing is that you do AoE damage to spiders so that they can't clump as much. When they clump, they do tons of damage, so Rocket Flare covers that basis. And it's honestly not that bad of a skill to max out. Great at killing raindrops.
Yep.
He'll be completely fine this lane. It's really about the rotation, so.
And with level 4 bottom lane, they're going to catch a lift onto Shadow. He's been pulled back. With those frost arrows, the slows coming out, the body blocks from Faith as well, and they're actually going to catch the Venge. That's the carry Venge we mentioned, and Newbee's aggro trailing strikes, and it really has been Faith on the Ogre Magi, the big playmaker so far for Newbee. First at mid, now at bottom.
And amazing plays well by KP on the safe lane. Dazzle rotates up here. He gives the sentry to the Broodmother. He places the sentry and instantly he used the Quelling Blade, or a Tango actually, on KP to kill the sentry. And it looks like he got the second one as well. That's literally 200 gold from the supports on Wings' side, and he just killed them both. And that guarantees that spiders can't harass him, that he can continue last hitting. He doesn't have to worry about heal bombs from invis targets.
You'll see them coming. He's got the poor man shield boots already, so he's actually pretty hard to kill up here. So Dazzle maybe wasting some of his time trying to prioritize this top lane. Mid lane, Kaka's come in. He got scammed, but it was too late for a response. TP though will be there. I don't think they actually get that kill anyways. There was not an Ogre with them. It was just a casual Rubik lift.
But if Rubik's there, throw the lift, because that's another TP scroll that the enemy team just used. I believe that one was Dazzle. And now he feels like he has to go pressure and defend the mid lane instead of sitting top looking for a kill on Clockwork. It's the pressure that's been going up from Newbee so far has been great.
So what's going to be the idea with this Brood? Are you just looking to camp this top lane and just keep on fighting into the Clockwork? At some point, do you swap the lanes and try and put the Brood versus the Drow?
I'm not completely sure what the current build on Brood is. That's really what the question comes down to, I feel. What are the talent trees? Do you go damage? Do you go the Midas Echo Saber build? I found that build very effective, but we're going to see maybe a kill in the bot lane here.
Catch someone like the Venge, they get the lift. The Fissure is there. We'll catch out
Great Fissure.
just the one hero with the stun, but blocks all three.
Yeah, the observer what they placed there was, it's going to be good, but if they would have placed a lane ward in front of the trees, it could have been better there, because grabbing Earthshaker would have been a for sure kill.
There's limited mana on the Earthshaker now as far as throwing out Fissures in this bottom lane goes. But it seems the supports are going to make a beeline towards that middle lane.
And they got the D ward as well. Sentry already there.
Did do so under Radiant Ward detection, but it seems
They got a shot.
walks in. He's going to go. He's trying to get to his Sanctuary, so he knows that if he fights by this one, he should be okay. He will pop it. Doesn't want to stand by it. He's actually a little bit worried about his position here. He's trying to get back to his teammates.
Yeah, that was a good play there. There was no way that he was going to kill either the Rubik or the Ogre before he died there, despite the huge regen. And if anything, just a small tangent, just getting some mana. So the last minute or two of Newbee's positioning hasn't been as amazing, and Vivian also really pressuring the tower now.
Yeah. I guess rather than questioning the Brood, what's the Clock's idea? Do you sit up here defending against the Brood, or do you, now that you're 6, look for those gank opportunities as early as possible?
Well, somebody's got to do it, right? And it's either Clock is by far the safest right now, just because at least he can defend himself with power cogs, and worst case, maybe use a hook shot at Rocket Flare to kill spiders. But at some point, I could see Dusa going up there as well. It's just for now, it's probably safer for Dusa to sit mid. So I think he just keeps getting farm. It all comes down to the supports to rotate, and Rubik and Ogre are definitely capable.
He's going to keep on doing that, and the nice thing about once he gets level 7 is that Rocket Flare can instantly kill the little baby spiderlings with just one Rocket Flare from full HP. For now, level 6 only. There's a bit of Dazzle in the neighborhood, so needs to be a little bit wary of how much effort he puts into defending this tower. And he's been gone, and the cog is not enough. It actually traps the Brood in with him. The Spiderling's chasing, and this looks like it should be a kill into KP. One last rocket flare before he does eventually go down.
At some point, there are too many spiders, and a Soul Ring facilitates that.
Yeah, they've come in, wrapping around with Kako on the Rubik, lifts Shadow back in, and his escape is somewhat limited until the Fidget comes in, but that's still not going to be enough. Ice will have to watch his buddy go down. The good news is the top T1 tower has been claimed. Faith Bian putting his team in a good position as far as putting pressure on the other side of the map.
Yeah, if they just keep stabilizing here, yeah, they're losing heroes, but their tower hasn't been touched yet, so Brood should be able to control all of the Dire jungle, or at least a large portion of it, so could turn into a position where their carries can farm, and Newbee's gonna have less access to farm.
Immediately just heading back towards this top lane, you kind of mentioned it, it's someone's got to deal with the Brood, so as much as a Clockwork traditionally looks to start rotating, finding those ganks as soon as he hits level 6, that is not something KP is going to be allowed by Wings.
He still can gank though, he's got TPs ready, bottle as well.
Just a few TPs.
The desperation I'm dying TP.
Bottom lane, another lift comes in, the Fissure is immediately thrown on the Drow Ranger, looks like Bench wants to go for a stun, the heal will keep Shadow up and healthy, and the Drow gets turned around on. Shadow low, the hook shot will miss, and Shadow actually gets graved up perhaps a bit too early, as he's still being chased down here. Another heal kicks in, but KP will find the kill, will go down to the Shadow Fiend. It's Blink showing up to salvage the situation here. A 3-for-1 so far. SCC's TP not really amounting to all too much for Newbee, and this says hello top lane. Brood is diving, wants U9, should be able to get him. He can chase deeper, but doesn't have any webs, and the Ogre Mandra's presence will deter any further chase from Faith Bian.
He's going for the strongest build that he can early, just phase boots, Soul Ring. He can pressure these guys so easily, even Faith here has to be careful. The web's really the only thing holding back from him going on an early rampage. And he's 900 gold towards a potential Midas. We'll see what he does build, but I think that build's fantastic. Maybe there's something new though, a lot of new items.
Now, Faith, it looks like just trying to get some wards down this top lane, grabs a bounty rune. Is it better, do you think, to try and address the Brood, deal with it like as the pest it is, or do you think they're better off ignoring it?
An occasional gank is super important. He's the highest net worth right now. There's pretty straightforward ways to do it. You pop a smoke, you run forward to 3 heroes, your smoke dies, you pop dust, you have a solution. On the bright side, for Newbee, they do have a Clockwork. Clockwork's fantastic at shutting down a Broodmother and finding him in the trees no matter where he is. Because once you do a little damage to the Brood, he can't actually phase through trees. So I think an occasional gank, it's super important. It can give them a lot of gold advantage back to their side.
There it goes.
They put U9 in the top lane for a little bit, but once it pushes out past the tower, he decides there's not a lane he wants to be in against the Brood. Speaking of which, the Brood is kind of tucked away in the trees, not feeling too safe.
That's all you need. Let the spiders get the last hits.
Yep.
And occasionally feeding Clockworks. 60 gold. That's actually a lot. It's going to really add up.
Clockwork, yeah, happy to take what farm he can in this top lane, and that's something where he is guaranteed a decent amount of farm going straight into the arcane boots to sustain that constant rocket flare, yeah, spam. And with Newbee, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to just hit this timing where they can 5-man and push down towers with a Drow Medusa because of the fact this Brood is in the game.
Yeah, just seeing the way the Ogre's been playing the last minute, he's actually just dual jungling with the Drow Ranger. When have you last seen that? There's pretty much no reason once Drow hits 6.
Here comes Wings with a smoke towards the top lane. Knowing they can bypass the Dire Observer with this one, they're going to find KP. It looks like the stun start things off. Shadow is going to wrap around in from behind. The Brood is there as well. The hook shot for a bit of extra stun, but he doesn't get out the Brood out of the cogs, and as a result, KP should be going down. The turnaround is there. Newbee come in with both Drow and the Rubik. They get one, and they want a second. Won't be able to find that. A Clockwork for Avenge so far.
It was a great reaction, though, by Newbee. Rubik's getting there just in time. Steel Spawn Spiderlings is actually a pretty good grab here. He can use this to generate him some gold.
Does have the arcane boots to even sustain it for as far as mana goes, but with the Clockwork off the lane, the AoE is limited. It looks like a tier 2 tower is going to be either claimed or at least have a significant amount of damage dealt to it. The Shadow Fiend has rotated in, just treads and infuse raindrops here, enough to make him kind of tanky enough to join up with his team and fight.
KP's the Raindrop Slayer, man. Rocket's so good at that. Mostly focusing on spiders for now, though. And again, they still have very good AoE heroes now. Split Shot's fantastic. Snake is very good at killing spiders. They've got some solutions. They lost the 2 towers, but they still have the other towers on the map, and they still have the shrine. So they have decent control of this area of the map, despite the early tower push from Wings.
The kind of, I guess, impression I'm slightly getting from this game, it does feel like Newbee are going to have to go more late game rather than look for that mid game timing.
The smoke.
Yeah, there we go. You talk about smoke ganks from the Brood. This one they get the dust, they get the lift into the hook shot, and they'll bring down Faith Beyond.
It's perfectly executed there. Throwing him back, getting out of the way for the hook shot. It's honestly a straightforward kill if you commit a smoke to it, but you just have to do that once in a while as the top net worth hero. And the kill went to SCE as well on Medusa, so a bit more gold advantage for him.
And that's a common problem for Brood Mothers. You get very far ahead when you have these good starts, but then you become this big prize bounty for your opponents to pick you off with.
That's why so many Broods just hang out in trees so often, because they don't want to show in the lane, because then their opponents will be able to kill them. And I'd argue that the jungle now is maybe a bit worse for Broods, at least in the jungle area. All the tree clumps are more small. They're not as connected, I feel. Let's use it on the edges of the map.
Yep, I totally see what you mean. But yeah, so Wings, they're going to see what their next moves are going to be. They send Faith Beyond back top with an Echo Saber, so one of the builds you kind of mentioned, minus the Midas, but gives them some good stats and kind of more fighting-oriented build.
And it's utility as well. It gives him some slow, he can front load his damage with Insatiable Hunger. Really synergizes well there.
Well, the rest of Wings seem to be playing more of a farming-oriented game for now. They have got a smoke on the 2 supports if they want to make another move, but when you look at their lineup, they've got a true 3-core lineup, both SF, Venge, and the Brood, 3 Agi heroes that can all scale very well into the late game. Earthshaker wants to probably farm a Blink at some point as well, and it seems both supports are just sitting behind cores who are farming.
They're anticipating the Newbee ganks, basically. Clockwork could be moving around. He's got tons of levels from his early laning stage, so that's something that they are going to do. With that said, though, Earthshaker's pretty much been just taking the lanes that have been empty all game up until this point after that tri-lane stage. And it's paying off. He's got tons of regen items, so if it's in a long engagement, he's going to be able to fissure a lot.
Oh, this is not good. Ice actually walks in. I don't think he wanted to be in the front line here, but luckily for him, it's just the 2 supports he runs into initially, and will back off. Trying to get down some Observer Wards there in the front lines. Gets forced back in the hook shot. Narrowly misses.
Just a little too far there. No fissure still in either. Nicely done to cover that. Ice has to be careful. Fissure is one of the best abilities you can steal.
They do prevent those deep aggressive wards being planted, so instead just a lane ward down in this bottom lane, as Newbee will be forced to either defend or let this bottom tier 1 tower go. Wings have grouped up as 4, Brood creating space for these 4, I should really say, as they feel like Brood is guaranteed to keep at least 1 or 2 busy at this top lane, and it's the Clockwork for now, but it's a Clockwork who can always TP, or can TP in typically, but it is on cooldown for now.
Yeah, I actually like how he's playing this game heavily. He misses hookshot. That's usually the time period where Clockwork should just go back to the fountain, get regened up, and then go start moving across the map again. But instead he goes back, he defends, and he puts all of his early gold into a Midas. And it's a really good timing for a Clock.
I think this is kind of, as mentioned, the Newbee just saying we're going late game. Like yeah, they have a Drow, and you think of Drow as that mid-game pushing team, but they have a Brood problem, and they're going to say, look, they've got 3 scaling cores, let's make sure we have 3 scaling cores. Not that Clockwork's going to be able to dish out as much damage as a carry, but he can still get some useful items for the team.
I mean, he certainly could in some ways. I mean, I feel like some of his items in the last game were definitely useful, but I look at the Wings lineup here, and I don't have tons of faith in the Venge right now, because his early rotations weren't very successful, and the tri-lane itself led to him dying a few times. So I feel like Venge is playing more of a semi-carry role right now. I feel it's very heavily on the back of Shadow Fiend.
And it is reflected in his net worth. You can see he's less farm than the Clockwork. Earth's been farming a lot of Spiderlings, has a Midas and all that, but this is a very underfarmed relative to the other cores in the game, Vengeful Spirit.
Like with a Midas on Clock, you've got good attack speed finally. It's got terrible agi gain, but turn this into something amazing. I think there's a real possibility that he can make some trade-offs. If he doesn't
yeah, speaking of that Clockwork, he turns around for a hook shot to try and do a bit of damage, but that was a big Spiderling army of Faith Beyonds coming in to bring him down.
That's the danger mode here. If you can't kill all of the spiders with like a hookshot rocket combo, then they will kill you.
He's queued up a Vanguard, so I think recognizing that's going to be the item that will help him survive. What just killed him there.
It'll help. It doesn't have 100% block anymore, I believe. So it won't be necessarily as good as against spiders. But they're coming right into the Brood.
Yeah, they find him as they can get this kill. It is that prize takedown, but it doesn't look like they'll immediately get Nice. Doja is coming up. Will force Ice to run a direct who does not want to. Good news is Faith Beyond gets himself out of there. But Kaka's stolen Fission now, so there's of course the prime steal as far as this game goes.
He's almost got Blink Dagger as well too. So he's doing very, very well. Earthshaker on the other hand was doing alright, but now dead. 740 gold, so quite a ways away. I'm still not very sold on the Vanguard on Clockwork. It is good, I guess, against Vengeful Spirit amping everybody's damage. You can get some damage block to offset, but I feel like he'd be better served going at least something like a Force Staff first. It's one item that can give you some distance between yourself and the Brood, or somebody else if you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, like that scenario there, you force, then you pop the cogs, and he can't really chase you down if he's outside of that cogs.
Yeah, exactly.
But stands, we'll see the game. It does feel like this is much more slow paced. Both teams are going to be just picking up their core items, waiting to see what their opponents are doing. No one's looking to rush this game along.
I really like what Deuce has got for farm though. Dragonlance immediately into a Scotty. Scotty's one of the best items in the game for Medusa for survivability, just because what she gets out of Mana Shield. And again, there's not that much single target damage coming out of the Radiant team.
Got in the mid lane, they're going to get the Earthshaker once again, potentially a Vengeful Spirit takedown if they can keep up with her KP. So it gets stunned up by the Magic Missile. The Grave will keep Shadow alive a little bit longer, but that means Y is now exposed. Shadow's TP out. It will complete. Just barely at the end there, the Battery Assault wearing off, and it's pretty important. Yeah, important escape for Wings. They do not want to lose the Venge considering how underfarmed she already is.
Either way, that was still a really straightforward fight there for Newbee. Bloodlust on Medusa, he's doing tons of damage. I feel like they just run at their opponents, and their opponents can't really slow them down. Fissure obviously helps, but that's about the only thing that's going to make them good at fighting for now. Like, even a BKB on Shadow Fiend and an ultimate is kind of what they need to stop their opponents, but that's not going to provide a solution to Medusa.
I'm liking the Vanguard potential pickup a lot more for Clockwork now because Brood has got a Deso, so right-click damage is really starting to ramp up, and
I'll take that.
I feel like this is going to be a good little answer to some of that single target DPS.
It can definitely work. It's definitely good against minus armor. And that's really what Wings is trying to do here. They've got Shadow Fiend, they've got Broodmother, and they have Dazzle, and they have Event. That's 4 heroes that have minus armor. So they should be really strong if they're grouped together for the next 15 or so minutes, if Newbee doesn't react correctly.
Wings have just kind of snuck themselves into Roche. They have great vision of the north and east of the pit, and we can see that, dare I say it, Radiant side Roche advantage. Still feels weird saying that.
Yeah, it helps taking the 2 towers, basically.
Yep.
And they've had wards up covering it for so long. Just a matter of time.
With that, see if they try to make any more aggressive maneuvers forward. The Shadowblade pick up an SF gives them some surprise factor as far as being able to initiate, although it has of course been spotted by now.
You know, thinking about all this minus armor and how it matches against Newbee, it's actually terrible against Medusa. The way that Mana Shield works is, I got corrected by AUI about this the other day. It's basically like damage block. The damage you're taking, it damage blocks 60% of it and applies it to Mana Shield. And then the remaining 40% gets amplified or reduced by the armor that you have. So he's basically just it's great.
Find out how tanky this Medusa is. The Echo Slam doesn't do anything too much yet, but now the Mana Shield wearing off an SCC will go down. Just picked up his Skadi, but Courier as well runs into trouble, and that's going to be a freebie for the Wing side within ages. They are pushing forward. The Fissure will catch the Ogre. This should be a follow-up kill. The Gust is not going to save him, and suddenly 1 kill turns into 2, turns into a potential 3rd. They want to go into the high ground, but the Cogs from KP blocking the chase, and will probably tempt Wings to actually take a T1 tower.
Everything just got out of control. I jinxed him.
Man, that was a nice little maneuver into that dire jungle. All this vision from the Radiant Observer wards giving them such great intel, and yeah, I totally agree about Medusa being tanky and hard to kill, but when it's a 4v1 scenario like that, you definitely can kill that Medusa.
And they got a medallion as well. Like, they actually have so much minus armor on the Radiant team right now. And it paid off there big time. The game looked so in control for Newbee, but a couple chain feeds more or less, and a bit more evened out. The net worths now are incredibly looking good for Wings.
Yeah, Earthshaker going to complete a Blink Dagger off of that, but looking at this net worth graph, it's still so close between the two teams. It's never been more than a 2,000 gold lead for either squad.
It's slightly inflated by Midas, but I think the Venge is still pretty underfarmed. Looks like she's going for more of a hybrid build, gonna pick up a hood after her Dragon Lance.
How much pressure are you if you're Wings? Do you feel like this Brood is a hero that, I mean, traditionally it can kind of fall off? Is this a build that's going to fall off less? Do you need to be ending this game early if you're Wings?
I think that question mostly comes down to talent trees. That's the most new thing that's going on for Brood here. She's got 10 Agi more than she used to. Historically, her Agi gain is pretty mediocre. Her strength gain's better. I don't think her talents really make her that much better. Her 50 attack speed in the next level could be fantastic.
Yep.
But that level 25 talent really doesn't do that much more. More webs, I guess. You can control more of the map, but
I imagine you want to go for the webs over the spiders' health there.
Yeah, that was my thought as well.
I mean, you're doing way more damage than your spiders are once you're level 25 in the late game, and the way Brood's itemizing is she's going to be a right-click carry, so wants to be fighting under the webs as much as possible.
How do you like this Blink Dagger pickup though? It's a bit interesting.
Getting on top of the Drow Ranger. It is a gap closer, but there's more a Hurricane Pike on the Drow, so there will be some of these maneuvering items. I say that, but there's still just I want to say one at the moment. Dusa could theoretically upgrade the Dragon Lance. Still not seeing any kind of a 4-star on Clockwork yet.
Lincoln's next for Dusa. I think that's a pretty good choice. Can stop swap.
Yeah.
Certainly the best thing that can.
That was where she got caught last fight, and if you're Avenged, you're kind of happy to throw away your life if you're killing a Dusa in the process.
Yeah, definitely agree.
But now, yeah, we'll at least have that queued up.
Clockwork's still so farmed. I'm pretty sure he's just looking where, yeah, every time. Oh, Brood's got a group of spiders. I'll just shoot a rocket across the map. It hits, kills all the spiderites, the low HP ones, and he gets 80 gold. And he's got a Midas. I mean, he had Vanguard not too long ago. He's already 2,000 gold past it. I honestly think something expensive, like a real damage item, so even something like a Radiance could be good.
Nice sights, brings himself into the trees. He's very close to Kak on the Rubik. The fish will catch up too. Securing a tier 1 tower, Ice will get himself forced out of there back to safety, and Newbee can't really defend this because they are being kept busy by this top lane. Just a tier 1 tower for them, but every tower's going to add up. Once you start losing those tier 2s as well, that's where you'll lose your shrines and completely lose map control. So they need to make sure they get themselves in decent fighting position soon.
And once again, Clock is still sitting. He does finish the Crimson Guard though. Gives him some nice base armor, and obviously the damage block for him and his allies. Don't think it shouldn't damage block the Shadow Wave, which has actually been a huge damage output for a lot of these fights, but at least the right clicks, it'll be good. Spiders too.
Kind of just feels like Wings are just split pushing Newbee to death in some ways right now. Not just through split push, but also out farming them. You look at those top 2 net worth heroes. They're not really being dealt with by the Newbee side.
I think that's what they have to do though, just because of the build that Venge is going. I mean, she's catching up a bit now. Ops changes back, goes for a Yasha.
Almost got face down to the top lane. They put a double sentry down, and they even used a rocket flare and a stolen Venge Howl, which just expired. Couldn't quite find the catch as Faithian tucks himself up deep enough away. He walks back. Gets spotted by the sentry just yet.
I like that they're avoiding fights, because I don't think they're strong enough. Oh, they're going in!
Echo slam, the Drow Ranger gets taken out to start the fight off.
Faithian did so much damage there.
Yeah, that instant double hit from the Echo Saber.
His ulti gives him 120 damage.
And it's so nice because he's instantly on top of you with that Blink Dagger.
There's no time wasted, and actually made a difference there.
It's a key kill. This Drow is already not doing all too well in terms of overall farm. You kill her again and constantly putting Newbee on the back foot.
I was definitely feeling better due to the fact that she went for the Maelstrom build. Gonna go Ags next. Great against killing spiders. And it won't necessarily have to be just Dusa or the Clockwork dealing with it, but I mean, she is still very vulnerable, and the items she's going aren't going to make it any better. And all it takes is Earthshaker getting up there without their opponents knowing it. And that can happen every time Echo slams off cooldown. There's not going to be a good solution to that other than, yeah, just literally spotting the Earthshaker. That's pretty much the only way.
And that's what Wings are getting out of their kind of full position, that big playmaking hero that can find kills like that. On the Newbee side, Rubik can make some plays, but he's not going to be able to find kills like that kind of just with one other teammate. Ogre is just kind of a bloodlusting machine. I feel like as this game goes on, Wings are going to get a bit more out of their supporting cast.
I would agree with that, but I still feel so much better about the cores on Newbee. Dusa as well as Drow. As long as Drow doesn't keep getting picked off like that, she will farm incredibly fast.
You worry about them kind of getting kited around the map though, because the split push from Wings is what's kind of dragging Newbee apart right now.
I don't think that matters too much. I mean, I think it's an issue because of Roche control, but past that, because they have such good AoE, they're going to farm their half of the map incredibly fast. And Wings just doesn't feel super comfortable taking a 5v5 just yet.
They're just going to make their next move. They've smoked up 4 heroes heading towards the Broodmother, perhaps looking to bait with Faith Beyond. Shot. Not going to find the Brood.
It's going to be on cooldown here if the Wings can't take an engagement.
Oh, Wings, can they get the jump? The Blink Dagger was broken by the Rocket Blade. Really a swap onto the Ogre, not the ideal target with the Venge Stun, catches out the Jar Ranger. The Stone Gaze can't really amount to all too much because of that Vision blocking them in, and we'll see the SF just scurry himself away. He's going to hate through it. He's thinking about chasing for more, but Newbee have already reassembled onto the high ground.
Vivian thinking about going in. Doesn't take a lot of hits to kill somebody, and there's a fast gem here on the Rubik. That was very dangerous for them. They only lost to Ogre Magi, not a huge loss here, considering, but they can't lose this gem, not after they bought it.
I mean, ideally you're looking for one of the prime carries with that swap, but that was all Wings could see, and they're probably deciding at that point, look, we use this smoke, let's just take what kills we can.
Well, the Force Staff really helped as well. I thought Venge could go down, but Shadow Fiend picking up the Hurricane Pike, so he's not really hitting too hard just yet, and has focused entirely on damage skills here. But we'll see where his itemization goes after this, because he does have to really start thinking about being able to outcarry against Medusa.
Yeah. Going for the extra damage per souls, the health, the attack speed. Final talent tree, you think he gets the extra attack range, or the minus Shadow Rays cooldown?
I think almost every single Shadow Fiend gets the attack range, especially because he's already got the Hurricane Pike. He'd basically just sit low ground and hit towers. So if they ever get advantage, it'd be great.
I mean, Raze has a cast time. You'd rather be right-clicking than using Raze, even when Raze has a 3-second cooldown. As great as that sounds, 3-second cooldown Shadow Raze, that's awesome.
It sounds really good for support Shadow Fiend, which should never happen.
Okay, so. I'll be playing that in my next pub game. Thanks, Serge.
You actually would, knowing you.
I actually played a support Shadow Fiend just a couple weeks ago, so.
Yeah, that's disgusting. We're looking for Broodmother with the gem here. Lincoln's is up on Deuce as well. She is really hard to kill. And she picks up the 10% evasion. I like the choice. Not a huge amount, but could really add up over the course of the game. Oh, they find Venge.
Oh, can they get the kill though? The immediate pull in by the telekinesis, and the Stone Gaze is going to prevent anyone from coming in to help the Venge. Is very tanky though. Still has a Manta Style. Shadow will finally pop it here, but he's being multicast out the grave. Going to keep him alive to the side. The Brood was on the Kaka. Rubik with the swap out. Echo Slam from my side. He's gone in. He wants the Medusa. Medusa's getting brought down by the Shadow Fiend with the BKB. It's Blink tearing apart the Newbee lines. Faith is looking to scurry himself out of that. Unai barely TPs himself home and safe. Newbee found.
What a
3
great
down,
defense there.
possibly for KP. Doesn't have a good answer for the Brood. No force stuff. It costs him a couple of seconds, but he needs to get further away, and he's not going to get a chance to do so.
That mobility from the Brood there. Nobody's getting away, and 4 dead heroes now for Newbee. Their initiation was very botched, but they were not expecting to find Avenge at the worst place there, where she was going to high ground. And even when they were trying to kill the Avenge, attacking uphill against somebody that had a lot of armor, and ultimately the Echo Slam on 3 heroes just guaranteed turns the momentum around.
The Venge, one of the heroes that just gets very tanky through his stats. +8 all stats at level 15. Is sitting on 2.3k HP with Strength Threats, Manta Style, Dragon Lance. All of this survivability adding up there, and made her a hard takedown.
And then when things got really bad, just swap in somebody else.
Yeah.
No big deal. They're looking great on Wings' side.
They'll take themselves another Roche Sages to be going the way of Blink, and nothing Newbee can do about this one. They're really just going to sit back and try and ride it out, get to that late game we talked about, where they've got that Aghanims plus Maelstrom on the Drow Ranger. They've got the Medusa with another item or two. But
I think the Medusa, she needs more damage right now. I think that was pretty clear from that fight. She had great utility. She stayed alive a very long time, but there wasn't enough DPS output. Bloodlust helps. I'm thinking about Manta Style. I know some people are going to flame me for it, but it's a better item for illusions now because it gives attack speed. Attack speed does benefit your illusions. They get split shot. There are some anti-AoE things like Earthshaker, but that's about it. There isn't that much. I feel like you can remove some disables, overall output more damage. Like Butterfly will also work, but it's still more attack speed.
Okay. Well, as it stands, Drow getting closer and closer to that Ags, just 300 gold away. Again, we see the same, perhaps, problem with Newbee's lamp scaling, though. It's very much all physical damage, and it does feel like that's something which Wings can itemize against. They've got the casual buckler on Dazzle, they've got the Solar Crest, they've got Weave itself. The armor on the entire Wings lineup is going to get pretty massive right now.
What if you bought like Mjolnir instead on Dusa?
I quite like that idea, actually. You mentioned damage. Maybe that is one of the better answers for it. Right now with the BKBs, it's not great because these are still like 9-10 second BKBs. Brood's is 10 seconds, SF is 9 seconds, so it may take a couple of fights before you really see it be high value, but...
She's going to get hit a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just the reflection can be great. And she also does have a lot of int, which ups her spell damage and ultimately makes the Mjolnir just a bit better.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Hasn't got much money to buy anything right now, and they'll watch Wings take the last tier 2 tower, which means time to take out some of those shrines.
So looks like Drow finishes her axe finally. So this is going to help the damage. I guess it doesn't have to be the Dusa. She could just be focused on tankiness, let the Drow sit in the back and try to make up for that lacking there. And the axe is a great way to do it. The split shot you can cast. Actually, you can't. It's probably not as good on Drow now because I believe Maelstrom has a cooldown of like 0.2 seconds, and she certainly has enough attacks that it will limit that a bit. But with the MKB purchase immediately after this, I don't know if you've tried that before. It's fantastic. Just mini stun multiple teams. You won't have to worry about missing uphill, I believe.
And the Brood passive as well.
That's a great point. Yeah. What 60% miss chance as soon as he slaps somebody. That's something that either the Drow or the Dusa can't handle at all.
And even if you gust the Brood back once she like blinks on you, you've still got 2 seconds where you've got that miss chance, which you don't want to have to deal with. So
yeah, the timing is very crucial. They have to go in and they have to kill somebody towards the start of the fight or while they're using Dusa ulti. Because if they don't, then there's going to be fissures, mechanical slams, going to be swaps. They have annoying things to deal with.
NewBee perhaps going to be put under a bit of pressure here. The Age is still extra duration left on it.
Invisibility.
But with 2 minutes left, it doesn't seem like Wings are going to group up right away by any means.
So it looks like Clock's going to do Ags next. Pretty standard stuff.
Oh, Drow. Spotted in the bottom lane. Ice Ice Blink. Echo Slam. Going to chain stun this. Try and buy some time for the Shadow Fiend to rock up. Unite going for the TP out. Is the damage going to be there? Shadow Fiend barely gets the kill.
It worked. I thought he was going for the right clicks, but the raises did a ton of damage there. Cleaned him up. That was a big kill. 50 seconds left now for Drow. Also alive.
Oh, the swap back. That range. Faith gets brought down, and they're just getting picked apart one by one, and with 2 dead, that's a lot of Medusa's damage taken away by Drow being dead. Well, any lane could be very exposed at this point. It looks like mid lane is where Wings are going to be grouping up. That's 5. The creep wave is coming along soon. They preemptively weave for the high ground push, and Clockwork is going to have to be the one probably buying time with Cogs and Hookshot on the high ground for some of these respawns.
Well, he's got the activity, so he can do it a couple times, but swaps up to them very soon.
Shake it blinks in. The Cogs is there, going to push them back with the Stone Gaze, and it looks like that's going to be enough to repel this wave of push.
Just fine, because they've got 12 seconds here for Drow.
Going back
swap
in.
in 3, swap in 3.
Oh, and trying to get anyone here. The Lincolns was popped. They get some additional damage and force out a cliff there. And now they're going to go for another hook shot, just trying to push him back using the cogs. Burn his HP and mana. Even though he's got an Aegis, they will still focus that Shadow Fiend to try and get him off the high ground. So the tier 3 tower gets protected. Did cost them a glyph, but buying time again. They didn't have a Drow, and they also had to fight into the Aegis, so...
We'll see if they leave their base here. They may just wait for Clockwork Vision and then go for something, but against the Aegis it's so difficult. But at least Blink is about half HP right now. Doesn't yet have a ton of sustain.
We'll be regenning soon once that Aegis expires in about 10 seconds time. Maybe someone they could theoretically jump in a good time, but there's a great swap back from Shadow. They've got Medusa, but the 4-star back mode Faith Beyond got him with the BKB, but FCC trying to slow him down with that Skadi. Shadow getting very low himself. There goes in the SF with a Requiem, lowering some of the damage with that minus physical, but Medusa on the front line trying to hold her own, doing so pretty well, and KP gets another hook shot off. The control coming out from him, he won't catch the Shadow Fiend inside, but they'll blink after. Kaka wants more, he wants this Shadow Fiend, can he get it? He's going to get almost 3-shotted, but the Ghost Scepter keeps him alive. The 4-star up, SF gets pulled back in, they're going to bring down Blink. Unite gets a double kill on the Drow Ranger, the hook shot, it's back up, KP's caught another. 4 down, Brood the lone survivor, and what a hold.
The amount of time that KP bought in that siege was insane. 2 dead heroes for 20 seconds, and he got them to hold it off.
Look at that Drow Ranger damage done. 6.5k damage done through the Aghanims and Maelstrom.
That's an item that is genuinely very undervalued by pro players, but it's times like these where going a carry Drow build can absolutely give you value.
Not only did KP get 3 hooks off, he actually did the second most damage in that team fight. 3 points.
Yeah.
He did more than half the damage of the Drow, and Drow did a lot.
I'm not surprised in the slightest. Hookshot's so good for just forcing. It made it so difficult for Wings to actually retreat. You know, every time they backed off Hookshot into power cogs, it's like 3 seconds of disable every single time.
Well, Newbee finding perhaps their second legs here, as that was the first real good team fight we've seen from them in some time. And they're going to look to claim this bottom tier 2 tower as a result. Still a lot of tier 2 towers up, so they won't be able to take out any of these shrines anytime soon. A lot of access points on the map available for the Wing squad still.
Those shrines and base made a huge difference for Medusa as well, just because it gives her HP and mana, which is more HP. She just sat there and fought it. It worked out just fine. A little surprised she went for 500 mana here versus 15 Agi. I know the 15 Agi definitely has a much higher win rate in pubs, but you know, very different pro game here. It's 2 armor, 15 damage, 15 attack speed. I think he's made a small mistake here, but we'll see.
Any other big talents stand out to you as far as coming up or things that have been picked up?
Not particularly. Pretty standard stuff around. And there's really not that many levels so far.
The Brood's 25 coming up, but again, neither of those is going to be massively game-changing. The extra webs could be kind of nice.
I'll be interested to see what he gets, but I'm not going to be too surprised either way. Venge picking up 50 damage, very, very good skill, obviously, for carry heroes. You know, Venge carry doesn't get played that much, so it's still a little overbuffed. The 20% Vengeance Sword damage is actually huge on Venge when she gets that. Since she does have a lot of Agi items, it'll really amp up her damage and really help Shadow Fiend as well, since he's building similar.
Yeah, this Venge is hitting hard and tanking a lot of damage. 2.5k HP, SF, similar story. Gonna be going for, it looks like an Assault Chris queued up next.
On which hero, the Shadow Fiend?
In Shadow Fiend, yeah.
Okay. I don't even know if that's the right choice. I feel like I want him to get something heavy hitter. Like even a Monkey King Bar or a Daedalus might be better, I feel.
When considering Brood's got a butterfly, they're killing that Brood, or the Medusa's got a butterfly.
Yeah, that's a great point. Another reason to grab it.
Hook shot in, it's going to be a Link Extra Time. Ice Ice going on a Rubik here of all heroes. Not just going to work out as well, not with the Ghost Step, but now they're going to turn it around, focus their efforts on this Shaker. He will finish off the kill thanks to the Grave. Well, I guess that works okay, but there's going to be a gem. Oh, someone pick up that gem. Hello, Ogre comes in.
Okay, they got it.
And they'll recover the Rubik's gem.
I'm just not completely sold on the AC. It'll be very good team-wise, because they are very much about right-clicking and minus armor, but we'll see if it works out. I just don't see him going toe-to-toe with the Medusa at some point. It's not going to happen.
It does feel like, again, they're just saying, like much like last game, it's all physical damage. Let's just tank up, get lots of stats, get lots of armor.
But it's not like that anymore. You know? He's got Ags with Maelstrom, and now he's got a Monkey King Bar. It does 160 magic damage. Look at him just clear this creep wave. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely on the same page as you as far as the magic damage coming out of U9. You'll be happy to see Medusa is perhaps going for a Manta style next. Has got it queued up.
It's definitely worth it, especially against Orchid stuff too. It's a lot of damage output, it really is.
Well, after that last fight, do you think that kind of evens things up, or is one team in a...
Yeah, game feels even to me at least. I feel like Newbee can get more control on the map. I feel Brood is certainly falling off. His skills are not as good at these super late game scenarios. Part of the reason is late game win rate's kind of weak. And especially with Clockwork being as stupidly farmed as he is, he has control of this map now.
It does still feel like in a sense, like it's a big, not just even, but a stalemate. Like neither team can really push. The shrines for the high ground defense, just not to mention the buyback advantage when you're defending high ground as well. So it does feel like neither team can try and make any kind of a big push, but what we can do, I guess, is make these kind of smoke maneuvers.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple times. Newbee keeps running into single heroes, and they want to keep doing it.
I don't know how well this is going to work. Medusa gets spotted by a Radiant Observer Ward, and running this way by yourself with Medusa, very unlikely. Yeah, and Rubik, his smoke gets popped, won't find anyone. Gets the high ground Observer Ward for some added vision.
They will get this other obs. It's something that they need to take care of. Couple on the map here for the Radiant team, and they're going to smoke in return.
Ooh.
I don't think they actually wanted to fight there.
KP was fishing with that hook shot. May have been a good catch if he got the Brood, but Roche just respawned nice and fast, and Wings looking to get a pick off to perhaps put them in a position to get the Aegis and Cheese this time around. KP gets swapped in. Obedient Shivers guard, he gets walked first and down nice and fast. So by does he? The last right click will bring him down.
Stone Gaze will break down the Brood. Their Blink Echo Slam almost takes out U9. Their will in the end. Ice is low. He's looking for another stun. He needs to control this Medusa. It's a lone problem left in the fight, but with the Drow buyback, this fight could turn back Newbee's way. SCC is looking to focus on Shadow, not doing all too much damage here.
Oh, here comes Drow with the Drow's re-emergence. I think this is perhaps time for Wings to back off, but they want to hold their ground. Why is this looking to cover the retreat here? Another stun coming out, kind of blocks it with the Lincoln Sphere, and Medusa still in good fighting shape, and SF is stuck on the high ground now, pulled back in. Don't see a good way out for him as he will be brought down. 100 seconds on the sidelines. Drow had to buy back, but well worth it.
It was just amazing how hard it was for them to kill SCC. Not only does he just not take a lot of damage from minus armor, but he's also got a butterfly and that extra 10% evasion perk. He's got 25 life.
Are they contesting Roche with 3 heroes here? This does not seem wise. And look at the Brood almost melting to that Aghanim Scepter. They get Karka in the end with the fissure here. They take out one. They really don't want to let Newbee get the Aegis this time around. They have no SF, no buyback.
Shadow spotting out the Ogre Magi as well. I think they can still take this here.
Bench pulled back for this, and right now it feels like, oh, hook shot, KP wants in, and he's going to catch up to the Earthshaker with the Shiver Slow. He's going to stop him casting any spells, and this should secure them the Roche. Another hook shot will be coming up in a couple of seconds, so KP will want more.
KP's just going crazy this game, man. All those spiders.
Even last game in their loss, his Clockwork was perhaps the the shining star of the Newbee squad.
I completely agree. Mjolnir on the way now for Drow Ranger. It's just going to get a little bit worse now for Wings. And the best part is she hasn't even bought a BKB yet, so if she does end up buying it in these late game scenarios, 10 seconds is an incredible amount of time. Like, the only reason that Wings won that first fight, Brood jumped directly on the Drow, did a ton of damage with the Bloodthorn, and they committed an Echo Slam to kill her.
They may actually attempt a high ground here. They put a cheese on Medusa, who will not only get the HP, but refill your mana with it. Drow Ranger with an Aegis means you don't have to worry as much about her buyback status. But first,
Farm.
First farm. I was thinking they might go for the shrines, but they've actually got a tier 2 tower still full HP at the top lane, so you cannot get those shrines in.
I think you just wait, give the Drow Ranger 600 gold, let her finish the Mjolnir. It'll be a huge difference in terms of amount of magic bounce damage. And then go take the next fight. As long as they don't get too clumped up on an Echo Slam, I think they certainly have an advantage. They also still have to be very mindful of Venge Swap. That's been really impactful in a lot of fights.
And they are going to take that more systematic approach. Take out all the outer towers, probably take out the shrines before they attempt high ground. I mean, high ground is such a big difference going for high ground versus tier 2 tower when the new shrines are there for that high ground defense. And there's not really any incentive for Wings to try and defend into an Aegis cheese right now.
Maybe there's some way that they can try to keep the Drow Ranger killed twice to reduce the precision aura. That's maybe one big advantage they can get, but now that the tier 2s are dead, the shrines are gone too. The game's looking really even though I would say Newbee has an advantage right now.
And we'll see how much they want to make a go at that high ground with the slight advantage they have. Does feel like one lost fight going for a high ground push, and the game will just swing right back Wings' way, so.
Yeah, really can.
And KB now queued up by the S. It feels like, yeah, this AC pickup, you kind of mentioned it, may have been the wrong decision, considering how survivable SCC was in that last fight, and MKB made a world of difference.
In a lot of ways, I think that BKB on the SF was also a mistake. Hurricane Pike, Shadowblade, and BKB, that's like 3 semi-utility items, and at that point, you're not hitting very hard, and you have to be concerned about that against the Medusa, and especially against the Drow Ranger. That goes damage, because she will out-DPS you, and that's what was happening in the last couple of fights. Shadowfiend's fighting, but he just wasn't doing that much. He's survivable, but you have to kill your opponents at some point.
And the crazy thing now with this level 25 Dusa, you're even tankier because of that 25% lifesteal.
That's a lot of lifesteal.
Yeah, no joke. Drow Ranger about to hit that level 25.
It's basically a free item, 25% lifesteal on Medusa. That's some of those perks, man. It's like playing Lone Druid.
You're a fan of the agility on the Drow Ranger at level 25 or the knockback?
It definitely has the higher win rate in pubs. Especially, you got to remember, it also gives more damage to his allies because of precision aura.
Yep.
And if your enemies get close, you lose half of it, but I think that's better than the Gust knockback in this case. Although, against the Brood Mother, could be fantastic if Brood's BKB is down.
Find out in a little bit what that's going to be. Clockwork, his level 25 could come up. The battery assault duration is what I'm looking at there. He's got a lot of HP as it is, but like almost perma battery assault could be pretty damn nice.
Yeah, it could be good. I think I'd prefer health here, personally, but...
Purge.
Yeah, well... Some people play games with more than 900 HP.
Yeah.
Sometimes damage items aren't the best choice.
No. So it looks like even with Aegis and Cheese, Newbee have their hearts set on continuing to farm, getting those level 25 talents, getting those next couple of items, and waiting for Wings to make a move. It's still that big stalemate where neither team can truly push up their opponent's team's high ground. No one has a big enough advantage to try and make any kind of forceful moves.
I mean, Newbee's going to want to take a fight on even ground against Wings. Wings is going to want to take an advantageous fight, I feel. They're just so tough for them to grab the Deuce kill, especially against Cheese. They don't want to do it against until Aegis is gone as well. But it's just becoming more and more farm for Newbee here.
Yeah. And I think they're recognizing some of these heroes, specifically the Brood, are just not going to scale all too well. The Venge is... how do you rate Venge as far as like this game going 60, 70 minutes and Venge's ability to itemize and be played in that kind of late game scenario?
She's certainly not the best late game carry, especially. She's got a couple utility items, so I think she's made decent choices though. MKB's the next pickup, I believe. I'm not seeing it on the courier though, so I'm a little... Did we have a buyback on her recently? I thought she would have more farm.
She did buy back at the Roche fight.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's right.
Right after.
Yeah, so now she's even farther behind. But even an MKB is not the best item for her. She's very agi based.
And this is
her tech range is weak.
Speaking like, ultra late game, this is a pretty good game for a Rubik as far as spells to steal, and we're talking Aghanim Scepter Rubik soon if he wants to spend his money on it.
That'd be good.
One of
Enchant Totem? Won't stun, but he'll jump around.
Or more like the Requiem, or like the Bench Swap could be pretty damn nice.
There's a lot of great skills. Or you could just use it to break Lincolns, and then wait 2 seconds and cast an actual spell. Like
none of the Brood spells. Don't be using it around him.
Spawn web. Spin web.
Do you lose? I guess you lose the webs once you get a new spell, or
I believe so. Yeah. That'd be way too good. Yeah, the Brood also kind of having the same issue as the Shadow Fiend slightly. A lot of mid-tier items ends up being a big downer around the 40 to 50 mark versus somebody that buys expensive items like Medusa or the Draw Ranger here. Who's got a sell here on Medusa. Looks like she sold the Dragon Lance. Not gonna go for the upgrade. I think that's fine. Oh, she made a huge mistake just now.
The double boots of travel buy.
And she sold one of them.
Yeah, I guess at that point you have to probably looking for like the level 2 travels and accidentally bought a second pair of travels.
It's possible, I suppose. She had one in her backpack, and then she had one delivered by the courier. So, that's a lot of lost gold. 1,200, I believe.
Yep.
Whatever, just hit more creeps, right?
I mean, that's the thing. If Newbee want, they know Wings are only going to come to them like by some kind of like sneaky 5-man smoke maneuver. They're not going to just try and run at them and try to push a building. So
maybe she didn't sell Dragon Lance. I'm not sure what she sold the first one, but yeah. Maybe phase boots or something.
Yeah, she used to have the... No, I saw the double boots of travel, definitely.
I think she sold phase boots and had 2 boots of travel.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Something like that. Or maybe it was blades of attack. I'm not sure. Either way, still, 1,200 gold absolutely can make an impact. Could be a buyback here or there. She already does have Moon Shard, so she's just about maxed out, just waiting to replace her cheese. I guess she could replace her Dragon. She's still got so much farm to go, really.
I hear hook shots and that's just like, I'm like, where am I missing?
He's just bored, I think.
Yeah. Farming.
Maybe there's a Brood in the trees.
Is this where you get the late game Octarine core on your clockwork?
Is that the build?
I don't know. I like Octarine for the old. You've got 4 spells as well as a couple different items that get the reduced cooldown.
Midas reduced cooldown?
Less so than Midas.
I mean, he might as well buy something really beefy. I've been saying that all game. He's gone very, very conservative, but at this stage,
he's
so safe.
Items, I don't...
Really?
I don't know. When you say really beefy, what do you mean by...
I mean something like weird that you never see on Clockwork, like Hex or Mjolnir or Radiance or something like that.
Hex could actually be a good way to gank some of these, or the BKB carries, like the SF, the Brood. If you want to try and initiate on them and you get a hook shot, you want to have a Hex to follow it up, perhaps.
With that said, I feel like they don't need instant disable too much. I mean, obviously the BKBs are a huge threat, but I feel like that's not really how the fights are going. And plus, with Ags, you already have a 12-second BKB piercing stun, so do you really need a Hex too bad on clock? It can be fantastic in some situations, but these guys are so tanky that even if you disable them pre-BKB, killing them before their allies force or swap them is tough.
Yep.
So I think he just goes something more utility-based. Not sure what, though.
Find out due time, perhaps, if this game continues to extend into the late game, as it does feel it will. Moment to breathe here as players look to resolve some of their issues, and see, God, the players just sweating in their chairs. These guys are...
It's an intense game. I mean, it's still, I mean, it looks like Newbee has an advantage here, but it still absolutely comes down to how the team fights are executed.
See the commands being laid down by the Newbee side about how they want to approach this game, perhaps, and strategically, I mean, is there much, like, for Newbee, like, right now they're no longer playing with the Aegis and Cheese. Is Roche going to be a big deciding thing as far as, like, we get an Aegis, then we can try and push, or are they looking to make some other kind of a play?
Yeah, I feel like it puts them into this insane, powerful position because of the fact that their heroes have a great mix of damage and tankiness, whereas Wings is mostly utility and tank. They don't have enough damage to offset it. So if you're only having like large amounts of damage but not extreme, then having to kill somebody twice or then popping a cheese during the fight is like fight losing for sure. So I think that's definitely going to be the big aspect here. Wings has to make sure that Newbee doesn't get the Roche, or they punish them heavily while doing it.
And the nice thing with the backpack is you can like put your boots or something in your backpack and still have the Aegis or Cheese even when you're kind of 6-slotted. Something like SCC can just replace as needed when he respawns. But looks like we'll perhaps be getting ourselves back underway soon. The headsets, well, some of them coming back at all.
Drow did go for the Gust knockback, by the way. Interesting choice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a terrible choice. I mean, he's not all about agi this game. It's really about the Ags effects. So
it's you like added utility over added damage at this point.
Yeah, and going into super late stages of the game, pushing somebody almost a 4-staff away from you could easily be better.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, it's like whether you do like 500 damage or 530 damage, it's like...
Yeah, does it really matter? Although, I would say that if somebody jumps on him and he only wants to silence them, it's now bad, because it's like a genuinely 4-staffing them away from you.
Yep.
It's got lots of solutions for that Hurricane Pike and the Gust now, so... I would like to... It looks like Brood is queuing up a Abyssal Blade. I think this is a great choice. Maybe what he should have built instead of the Bloodthorn, perhaps, just because Echo Saber plus Abyssal, great option.
Doesn't feel like he's gotten much value out of the Bloodthorn so far this game.
Yeah, it worked that one time against the Drow Ranger. That was a great fight, but super late game situations... I mean, they do need it against Medusa, I suppose. It could be their evasion solution, but they all still have to go through Lincoln Sphere, and... I mean, he's got the cooldown perk. 20% cooldown reduction puts us at 8.8 seconds. That's a really good timing for an item. That's like a skill in terms of downtime.
Affecting his BKB as well. So.
And his Echo Saber, dude. 4-second cooldown Echo Saber.
Pretty nice. He's going for, yeah, four active items here. Well, 5 actually. One of my second phase boosts.
Yeah, that'll make the difference, the phase.
That's 6.4 second cooldown phase boost.
He did go for 8 max webs, by the way.
Yeah.
Nobody noticed the infestation on the map.
Yeah, this map is covered.
It's a pretty nice advantage to have, really. I mean, because he could hypothetically run around there against Newbee, break smokes, blink away, possibly escape. I feel like we haven't seen Newbee feel very comfortable getting close to the racks, and for that reason, while the Brood hasn't been very useful, at the least they don't get to do easy siege stuff. The Venge prevents that, as does the webs here, I think.
Okay, well, a big thanks to the amazing Malaysian crowd we've had out here at ESL One Genting. You guys have been very patient throughout these 3 days as well. We've got to witness some amazing Dota. I believe we're going to take a look at some of the replays from the previous fight to see what went down, to kind of recap. This is the Venge one, so walk us through what kind of went wrong here for Newbee.
The fissure separating the heroes on the right was great. The Drow Ranger as well from the low ground having a lot of trouble killing him. There's clearly tons of misses there. And then the swap out with Kaka and that Echo Slam. Just beautiful.
I mean, the SF didn't even get too close for him for the Requiem, but managed just to hit at least enough and was in a position where he could just get the right-click damage out. It's one of the few fights, or at least that, well, this was quite some time ago, where Newbee were really put on the back foot and split apart.
Mm-hmm. And it all came down to the fact that Venge, the person they initiated on, and used all their skills. They even missed the hook shot. Initiating that was definitely very impactful as well, because it took way too long for them to actually blow up the Venge.
Yeah.
This fight was crazy.
Yeah, this was the high ground push. This is where, I mean, I gotta go back to KP. He was so good on this clock, where constant hook shots. He got 3-4 hook shots off on this high ground defense. He bought time. The big thing was at the start of this fight, Drow Ranger was dead, so they had to buy time, but buy time they did, and Wings perhaps diving in a bit too deep in hindsight, would you say, or?
Yeah, I mean, the Dusa looked really low. Her mana was a little bit lower than 30% or so. Her HP was low, but once she grabbed that shrine, that probably gave her a good 1,000, 1,500 HP survivability once you do the math. It was really impactful. They weren't able to kill her, and she turned things around.
And that's still, there must be something where players and teams just still haven't fully adjusted and respecting the power of those shrines.
Especially for Medusa. It's maybe the best hero in the game for shrine abuse, for defensive situations. She's not very mobile. She can definitely punish you if you overextend. And just extra value. I really do feel the Mana Shield has been instrumental against this lineup. It hasn't felt like a max minus armor game. It really hasn't.
From both sides, we're kind of getting far enough back in the late game that everyone is just very survivable, has the stats. We saw it earlier with Avenge. Since that point, I mean, is it just that Newbee have kind of caught up in terms of items? Do you feel that the fights are swinging back more their way? Or have they actually approached the fights differently from then?
I think it's genuinely just itemization advantage, honestly. The Drow going for Maelstrom as well as Ags made a big impact. Her damage output has been great. Medusa's been entirely focused on tankiness, which initially I criticized, but once Drow covered that base, tankiness was the way to go. And then on the Radiant side, they kept investing in minus armor, but again, the way that Mana Shield works is it just takes that damage off the top, even before you get to amplify it by all the minus armor. It makes it so much less valuable. So all of these like tanky hybrid damage builds that they went on Wings' side, it probably should have just been hard damage, or maybe even something a little bit more cheesy that could drain mana or deal with the Dusa better.
The Ags on Drought really feels like the turning point in some ways.
Yeah,
that was,
absolutely.
Until that Ags came up, the first fight after that was suddenly won by Newbee with a massive amount, like the 6.5k damage of that Drow Ranger, the Clockwork hitting multiple hookshots. So
I feel like it's just such a scary item to get for a lot of pro players because they think if I just get a BKB and we win team fights, we win the game, right? But if you buy Ags, then you're vulnerable to pretty much everything. You're vulnerable to Orchid, you're vulnerable to gap closers, you're vulnerable to swap. Like, there's just not a lot of good solutions if you get put in a bad spot, but the damage output increase and the way that it opens your itemization to be more effective is just incredible. It's already giving you double damage essentially, because I believe the split hits do 50% or something of your initial attack, so you're getting double damage already, even though it's splitting, and then you get multiple orb effects, so it's like those items are becoming better. It's a damage accelerant, and whenever I see it picked up, it's really incredible how much damage it does.
Yeah, this Drow probably needs to become like the #1 priority for focus in these fights, or I mean, Medusa you kind of have to ignore to some extent with how tanky she is. But
I would actually agree, yeah, because she's also amplifying what Dusa does, and Dusa did go very tank heavy, so kill her at the start. That could be a great way to start the fight. Especially, she doesn't have BOTs just yet. She's got them queued up, but if she has to buy back and try to come back in the fight, she won't be able to get there instantly. So, killing the Drow could be great. But Clockwork's been making so much space this game. It's very difficult for Wings to actually get to where they need to and actually blow up the Drow Ranger.
Looks like we will be getting ourselves back in soon. Kaka has reconnected, so perhaps
fingers crossed.
So Newbee, they are in position here around the Roshan pit, which won't be respawning for some time, but they do have a double damage rune right by them waiting, so perhaps looking to make some kind of a play happen.
Oh, they're going to give it a shot.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
We'll get things back underway. Here we go, Malaysia. It's game 3, 50 minutes in. Things very even between these two top Chinese Dota 2 squads.
Damage redoubled.
For those of us joining us from
and do welcome back everyone here in the live audience, as we'll see, as well as those of you watching online and Twitch TV, but it is Wings slightly on the back foot. They've lost a lot of map control now, losing all their tier 2 towers and shrines, and Newbee are the ones who have won these last couple of team fights to put themselves back in this game, ahead overall on net worth, and looking to perhaps set themselves up to take this next Roshan and even go for a smoke maneuver here. Something I'd really like to see Wings start doing a bit more is using Spiderlings to scout. I feel like that's something like Ice is someone who I always think of when he uses his summons really well in the late game just for vision and information. It doesn't matter if you feed some Spiderling, you scout heroes, great.
You can even do some patrol stuff as well if you're trying to spot for smokes.
He's got a couple of them around the Roshan pit.
He literally read your mind, or he speaks English, I'm sure. And he's not wearing his headset. Oh, they're gonna grab him though.
Oh, have they got the catch? It's gonna be a quick scurry away.
He hooked. Did you see that?
Oh, they're spiraling on the cliff.
Yeah. He clipped himself. He actually can't get down. Who's got a force?
There's one of the Drow. Oh, the Drow's got the Hurricane Pipe.
Is that the only one? Or he could just...
He can hook a teammate.
His allies are really good at juking, man.
Swing, better.
They're gonna try to pursue this.
They want to contest that roast, like you said. You feel like they have to contest this one, and Wings totally agree.
Good timing. The weave is huge.
Rubik,
oh, they're gonna
find it. Oh, the lift immediately from the Rubik. He may get himself out of this one. No chance for that. They lose the gem in the process as well. Now dealing with the Brew gets it, but they swap in KP. That's Blink out. KP back to safety. Things reset. Rubik does not have a buyback. That's a big teamfight presence being missed, considering the amount of items on this Rubik.
And a bit of a gem loss as well. He wasn't reacting either. He does actually have a gem, but
he got an immediate lift.
Oh, that's right.
He didn't blink away. Now the hook shot. Okay, blink on the right side of the fissure. Well, the left side, but it ended up being the right one to be on to save his life. As Ice was also there for a defensive maneuvers if needed.
Cool build here. Avenge picking up a lads. You may think this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but it's based on his base damage and his agi. He's got a lot of agi, so just standing near heroes, Avenge is going to be, especially at level 25, giving 60% damage amp to his team.
Are you worried that it's being picked up on a core hero that's meant to scale more towards the late game?
I'm not super concerned on it, to be honest, because who else is going to be in the battle that close that has item slots? Avenge has gone so many expensive items already that she's got the space for this. I think this is okay. I maybe would like to... Yeah, she's going to go Mjolnir next. She needed another damage item, surely. And that'll be a great one. Her attack speed's fantastic right now.
And a big shout out to Malaysia. We're currently broadcasting live on Malaysia's NTV7 and on Malaysia's first and largest homegrown streaming service, Tonton. Esports history being made, Purge.
And here we are doing it.
Let's not fuck up. Newbee. Again, posturing around the Roshan pit is now respawned.
They're looking for the swap.
Oh, blinking eyesight. What are you thinking here? He swapped it back into the BKB on the Medusa. Trying to get them in the stone gates. The Colt pushes the SF back. He walks in front of the SF. He's trying to get away from the stone gates. He can't. Grave onto the Oshik. It keeps him alive, but who's going to keep Blink alive? He tries to pike to the high ground. Doesn't make it. As he tries to now reset the fight, it's still a Brew caught in the front line, turns around with the BKB, silences up SCC. SCC has a cheese still. I don't think this is a target to go on U9. Now getting on Blink, Echo, he immediately pays for it with his life though. U9 on the back one, Drow is dead. His flyback doesn't want to use it right away. SF lifted up, is the target of the Medusa, the Grave is there. He's going to turn and fight. SF doing what damage he can before he dies. Rubik steals the Requiem, unleashes it, and takes down a couple more.
They're
of
still
the Wings
fighting.
unit.
Buybacks all over the place.
Yay. Roche still standing as well. Both teams will be eyeing that one off. Medusa goes into the pit. She does have buyback.
That's the prize they won, and that's why they're gambling on this. If there is a dieback here by Drow Ranger, it is going to be an Aegis towards the Radiant team, but it looks like Wings is feeling less comfortable with this than Newbee is.
Another hook shot at 10. KP wants in. Throws the cogs. He's actually out of mana at this point, so a lot more limited in what he can do if this fight continues to draw out. They want to go on the Shaker, who's got a Ghost Scepter. KP maybe making the call to retreat here. Just 50 mana, no more hook shots at his disposal. No shrines, no nothing to...
The fights have been so long that he's just completely dead. He's got no more mana left. So at least for a period of time, this could be a bit of an advantage going towards them, because everybody else on Wings is looking pretty healthy. But will they know that they're doing this? The Spiders are scouting.
The SF buyback being on cooldown, perhaps the big deterring factor as far as making too many aggressive plays, but they still don't want to give this Roche up for free. KP still far away. He's at his tier 3 tower, needs to get your time. Hooks to some neutrals to get here faster. He is doing whatever he can to make sure he rejoins with his team. He needs to be the one initiating any kind of a fight for Newbee.
I really feel Shadow Fiend's doing decent damage now. The Monkey King Bar is making a big difference in these fights. And even the Medusa, she's throwing out tons of attacks, but her damage is absolutely not good enough.
Yeah, she's still got that Dragon Lance, which you gotta imagine is gonna be replaced.
I think it's honestly Rapier time. I mean,
KP finds the push back with the cog. Shadow is the target here. He has the link to protect himself. KP slowing everyone down with Shiva's guard, but now he's kind of in a tough position here. Has another hook shot in a couple of seconds. Maybe look to turn and throw it. KP stunned up. Off to the north though. That's all for the fight. Another hook shot. KP finds two. The push will not be there in time to catch the SF. It's Shadow swapping him back to safety. And now the other Wings here is completely alone, and it's Faith Beyond on the Brood going down, dead for 2 minutes, but does have buyback.
The Stone Gaze goes through, and all of a sudden the amplified damage shreds him. And the fight looked kind of iffy for Newbee there, but by hookshotting, not only did KP disable 2 heroes, but he got himself out of a bad position. And if they can kill the Roche here and grab the Aegis, it should be great, but Venge will get here soon.
Here they go. Drow is very low on HP. She needs to pick up the Aegis, but they're going to get her in time. The hookshot trying to buy some time. KP wants to let this Drow get the Aegis. She's going to die to Roche. Front line. Oh my, she's down to Roche. Purge, what is going on with this Dota 2 game? He gets Nexus put out there. He doesn't have buyback. He cannot afford to die. The Brood is on the Medusa. Medusa doesn't send KP. She's down. Buyback immediately. The Stolen Requiem comes out, but it's not going to be enough to turn this fight around. Dazzle fights back. Wings, they smell blood. They want to push forward. Multiple buybacks from both sides, 3 being used by the Newbee side, and look at Roche, it's so low on HP. Can anyone get in here in time for the HPN? He's got the webs, but he doesn't feel confident pushing forward. SCC gets Aegis and Cheese.
What the hell? Are they going to punish her?
Can they go in? They know there's no Drow Ranger for this one.
They want to, but they're too far away.
Shadow's charging forward, he's got a swap.
Oh man. That was insane. I mean, Drow does not have standard items. She's actually not that survival. 13 armor base right now. Roche is strong late game, and she did not kill him fast.
Well, I think Wings recognize that they are in a position that even with Aegis and Cheese on that dire side, they could push forward. No Drow Ranger, that's a lot of Medusa's damage, and fighting into the Brood is tough for the Medusa because of that 60% miss chance.
And she does not care about items. Oh, the Echo!
Oh, the counter hook shot from KP. He's going to lock 2 in place. The Echo from my side was good, but not great. And he's now deep in enemy territory. Will pay for this one with his life. If not for the grave that keeps him alive a little bit longer. Eyesight's hoping for a prayer, but he's not going to get another hook shot from KP. Will lock him in place. The Medusa on the front line. May needs some help turns. BKB tries to fight into the Broodmother here. KP, he keeps throwing these hook shots. He's looking for another in a couple of seconds. Oh, Stolen Echo time. Tucker will pay for it with his life. He goes down. Another hook shot. KP trying to lock these heroes in place. The Venge will be back into this fight in a second. May look for KP here.
3 seconds.
SF is very low though. Hook shot. KP blink hook catches SF by surprise. He's got no buyback. 2 minutes dead. Shadow's gonna get the hell out of there. He backs off, but it's going to be a re-engagement. Faith Beyond. He's in the middle of this one. That's not a spot you want to be, mate. He's down. The smoke from Newbee, they're chasing after Y. It's just a dazzle, but they'll take it. That's another dieback. That's 3 heroes dead without buyback on the Radiant side. Newbee have their Drow Ranger back alive. The boots to travel into the top lane. Newbee, they think they can end this game.
The Brood there kind of sacrificing himself almost for nothing. If you would have killed Clock, that was a dieback. They might not have pushed, but now they're going high ground.
Have they got the time to end this game? There's just an Earthshaker and a Vengeful Spirit. It doesn't feel like Wings can defend this one. They're going for the racks, not the throne.
First racks of the game, almost 60 minutes in. The winner of this going to the grand finals. It is so tense. And these heroes are slow without their boots.
Changed their mind. They're going for the throne first. They want to end this game. They know there's very little these 2 heroes can do. Shaker gets caught out. He's still got no Echo Slam for 5 seconds. Push once, twice, thrice. He just keeps getting pushed around. KP again. The men's hit. It's over. Newbee in the grand final.
What insane play from Newbee in that game, man. Their itemization was exactly what they needed. It bought them some team fight wins. And Wings just could not catch up in time. Amazing series.
Some impressive Dota from both Newbee and Wings. For Wings to turn this series around after such a one-sided game 1, they came back.